Do not disturb for an hour.
Oh, hey. I think we're
Oh
live.
hey.
Oh,
Hello,
hey.
hello, 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 hello. We're back.
Ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, welcome to the Beacon TVL show, the weekly podcast from Beacon DeFi, your beacon in the world of decentralized finance. I am your host, Professor Chris. We've got a great show lined up for you as we tackle the news of the week that's relevant to you, our dear users in the world of on-chain investing. Today on the show, we have Ken back from Taoshi, subnet number 8 in the BitTensor ecosystem, the Lord of Developer Relations at Taoshi and Glitch Financial. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Can you hear me? I just unmuted. There we go. Okay, I'm on.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Dev Lord, Taushi. Appreciate you guys. Excited to be back on. Always good chat. So excited for today's discussion.
Agreed. We should hopefully have a wild Keiko here in just a minute. He's a very busy guy, so
While
we'll
Keiko
have that.
appears.
A wild Keiko will appear hopefully at some point during this broadcast. So we've got a lot to dig into. What we will do real quick is just kind of take a look at where we are at with regards to the market. Uh, since last time you were here, Ken, which was a couple weeks ago, the market has kind of done a flip flop up, down, all around, and we seem to be in a nice, decent holding pattern here. We
Yeah.
will get new information today with the Fed on what they're going to do with rates, either keep them steady, which I believe, according to Polymarket, which I should have had pulled up because clearly that's the new way to check on the news, as opposed to going up or down. I don't think they're going to raise rates. They're definitely not cutting rates. So hopefully it stays put with everything going on. A little bit of market instability overall, as you can see, we're a little bit red today here on the chart. So, any thoughts on where we've been up and down and all around?
I mean, I kind of like the range we're just kind of teetering on. I know I watch these YouTube videos every day of what the market's going to do. No one really ever knows, but I think it's good that we're kind of staying in this range um, per chart analysis, whatever that means. I think it's good
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of staying in this range. So excited. I mean, I think 2025 is going to be a huge year for crypto. So I think right now it's just a calm before the storm.
I agree. Let's do a little hat check while we're here. I just noticed we're both wearing hats again. I am in dear need. I'm in
Uh,
dire need of a fade, so that's why I've
yeah.
got the hat on. This is the super secret new Arbitrum
Oh
logo
man.
from a couple of years ago that I got, from a very kind soul at East Denver at the Arbitrum booth. So that's
Get
what
the
I'm
swag.
rocking today. What do you
Nice,
have there?
nice. I have the manana, the morning hat.
I like that.
I myself love hats. I have a
As
slew of
do I.
hats, too many hats. I'm wearing my hat because my wife told me to chop off my hair, and I did.
Good for you, sir.
And
Got lined up and all that.
I mean, it's okay. I'm short-headed. I haven't had long hair in 10, 15 years. So, or excuse me, I haven't had short hair in 10, 15 years. So what I'm seeing now is
A little
it's a
bit
little
too much
tough
of
to
a
see.
change. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
a little bit too much of a change, but I think it's working well. My grades are coming in, so
There we go.
can't do
No,
much about that.
you gotta embrace them, man. You gotta embrace them. Speaking of
Gotta
things that have
embrace the
made me
grades.
lose my hair, with regards to losing my hair, I want to wish a happy birthday to my youngest daughter. She turns 9 today, so
Happy birthday.
excellent day. We're gonna have a big celebration. She's thankfully chosen a nice dinner at Raising Cane's for her dinner today. So I'm good
Good
with that.
stuff.
She didn't ask for like, a steak dinner or anything like that. So, or if anything, an egg dinner. My gosh, the prices of eggs right now are ridiculous. But yeah, well, we'll
Oh
take a quick look at bubbles while you gather your thoughts there, sir.
no, yeah, I was thinking Cane's is that's that chicken restaurant, right?
It is, yeah. They are
Oh, okay.
they specialize in just chicken fingers. So if you
Should be
like
good.
chicken fingers, if you like crinkle fries, they normally don't do you wrong. They normally don't do you wrong. I'm a fan of the cane sauce. I know a lot of people are not because it's kind of like a Thousand Island, just dunked in pepper. So that's really what the sauce is in my personal opinion. But we've got a very wild bubbles chart for the last day. And that's actually for the last week. Oops. Come on, just give me the week. Just give me the week. Still. Oh wow.
I see.
I
I
don't know why
see. And
KuCoin's coin is up 19%, but we're seeing a lot of interesting. Ondo up 9%. That's a good sign. Anybody who was
yeah.
picking up on Ondo as a buy there, there's news that's not on the agenda that Securitize and Biddle are now live. They've released something live on the 5 chains that we talked about last year. So
Mm.
good for them. Look at that winner right there.
Hey,
Look at that
baby.
winner right there. Tau at
Awesome.
12.7. Jupe, of course, up on the week with Cat Stemble. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Super bullish on movement,
Mm.
movement labs. Good for them. 12.2 on the week. So, you know, we'll go and
I,
hop in the news real quick so we can figure out what we have
real
here.
quick, I am
Yeah, go ahead.
seeing all these, and I mean, most of the meme coins, look at Pengu, look at Fart Coin, down a
Yeah.
lot.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at that. Fart coin down 51% of the week. A lot of people in shambles, my guy. A lot of whales
Yeah.
in shambles
Those
there,
meme
sir. So,
coins. Those meme coins.
when you speculate, you gotta take the L's along with the dubs.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we'll
100%.
see what next week has in store. With that said, we do have some news to build on that, and that started with last Thursday. President Trump signed in an executive order to strengthen American leadership in digital financial technology. This is a very interesting one. So let me explain the ins and outs of this, because there's actually quite a few things wrapped up into this. The first one is they're going to ban the invention of a CBDC, a central bank digital currency. That is the first part of the EO. That's right here. The second part is they're going to give the ability for any individual or private sector entity to use blockchain networks without persecution. And is that really your mother-in-law?
I sent them the group chat that I will be. Yeah, I think that is my mother-in-law. Awesome. I
Well,
love
welcome,
mother-in-law.
welcome, welcome,
Welcome.
ma'am. Thanks
Join
for
us into
watching
the
us.
fold. Here to learn about crypto.
There we go. We're here to educate you for sure. Uh, you can actually participate in mining and validating and transacting with other persons without unlawful censorship. And this is the important part: to maintain self custody of digital assets. Again, that's the main reason why Beacon DeFi is here in this space in decentralized finance, because we're all about self custody, your keys, your crypto. You are your own bank in this space. And that is such a powerful thing, not only just responsibility for your own financial future, but just knowing that you have that freedom.
Yeah.
You're unencumbered by banks and, all of these gated people who make money off of you. This is the age where you make money off of you. Unfortunately, you also lose money off of you as
Oof.
well, depending on your
Oof.
decisions. But
If people really knew what the banks were doing with their money too, with the rehypothecation and all that stuff, we
yeah,
really should be owning our own funds too, which crypto gives you the power to do. So,
and we definitely will, because they keep talking about DeFi is the future. We've been talking about DeFi as the future for years now. The interesting part about this as well is that they have some other definitions here, but the other part, besides the working group on digital asset markets, 6 months, 180 days, it's going to be a group consisting of the Secretary of the Treasury. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Why is the Homeland Security and Commerce Secretaries in? I know why this is, because Howard Lutnick is the Commerce Secretary, and he's, from Cantor Fitzgerald. He has a 5% stake in Tether. That makes sense. But all of these other groups, in essence, with the SEC, the CFTC, and all of these other people here in this working group, they're going to create a clear and comprehensive framework in the next 180 days for clear rules regarding crypto, something that Europe has front run the US by a full year at this point. And the other part that's interesting is that they're also going to create, or rather evaluate, the creation and maintenance of a digital asset stockpile. And if I can find the specific thing here,
that's
let
awesome.
me see
That's
if I
what
can
we've been
find it.
waiting for.
Yeah, the national asset stockpile. Oh, I'll find it. I'll find it later. There's a link in the show notes, by the way, if you want to find it. But essentially, the national asset stockpile is going to have assets potentially derived from cryptocurrencies lawfully seized by the federal government through its law enforcement efforts. Now, that means Mt. Gox, all that US Bitcoin that's been moving around different wallets, guess where it's going to be going? It's going to be going in the stockpile. And I'm sure Ross Ulbricht, the architect of Silk Road, happy man that he's not spending 2.5 lifetimes in jail anymore. But you think he's upset about that idea? That Silk Road BTC is now going to be part of the National Digital Asset Stockpile?
Which it's we want this stockpile, but kind of the way they're going about doing it. I mean, otherwise, I don't know how they would. They have these funds already because they seized them, but do they just give them? And this is something I'm not super familiar with, but you would have wished maybe the U.S. government would acquire these in another way, but so it's a bit of a two-edged sword here, where it is a stockpile, but the means in which they're stockpiling these assets, it's just stuff that they seized. So that's interesting. But who's to know what's going to come later on with the stockpile? Are they just going to add more through the market? Who knows? I don't know how they're going to handle this.
Well, I've seen a couple of things, in some of my networks where even on the Hill, on Capitol Hill, that it doesn't really take a ton of really just maneuvering to help create a reserve fund, because there's already a treasury reserve, and they could make the pitch that Bitcoin be an asset that's involved with that reserve. Where that becomes an issue now is other people jockeying for position to have their coins in this national digital asset stockpile. And I'm looking directly at you, Ripple, specifically because behind the scenes they've been meeting to try and see if they can, kind of get their way in there with XRP. I don't see why Charles Hoskinson and Ada wouldn't want to be in there, or anybody else who's one of the founding seven of Ethereum, along with Vitalik Buterin. I don't know if Vitalik would really want to be in that national digital asset stockpile because of his decentralization stance, where obviously no sovereign entity owns any of this stuff. But it could be a very interesting first half of 2025 as we're definitely going to get something on this before the summer breaks. So that's the key here about this executive order came about last Thursday, and yeah, I am very curious to see what happens with all this, because with that said, I think it's very clear and hopefully a good sign for the market that they're not going to be selling all of that Bitcoin that they seized. That's been a worry, right? They're going to dump on the market
Yeah,
with it.
yeah, and it's also interesting too what the reaction. A lot of people have been calling for, this digital asset reserve and for a pro crypto, office, what have you. But the market hasn't really reacted from this stuff yet. So maybe, of course, maybe this time we are, since it's been a long time coming, we're a little bit more like, okay, now that this is in place, let's really get the ball rolling. Let's really see this stuff being facilitated. Let's really see things happening. So I think maybe the just space is we're fatigued from the news and we actually want to see something being done, which it sounds like it is, but it's interesting that the market really hasn't reacted to some of this news.
Agreed, agreed. And while we're talking about that, we did get a wild Keiko,
A wild Keiko
a wild
appears.
Keiko who has
Heyo.
appeared. Heyo, welcome, sir. We
Uh,
were talking about the executive order from President Trump that came in last Thursday, establishing the national digital asset stockpile with assets potentially derived from cryptocurrencies lawfully seized by the federal government through its law enforcement efforts. RIP Mt.
yeah,
Gox Bitcoin.
yeah. I mean, it's a good way to absorb some supply. It's a cheap
Yep,
way for the government to hold some crypto without putting any skin in the game. So, I mean, they found a cheat code. Good for them.
that was the cheat code, that's for sure. Well, one thing I did want to bring up next, because I thought this was actually really cool. Uh, you guys are familiar with Miston Labs, correct? The group behind the Sui blockchain.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. Well, Costas, the co-founder, apparently he was stuck on a boat last week or over the weekend, so
Oh,
he decided to try a little experiment. I don't know if you heard about this, Keiko.
I did not.
Uh, he has
Yeah.
now found a way to send a SUI transaction. Oh, let me share my screen. He found a way to share a SUI transaction via SMS. So watch out.
Oh,
Watch out,
wow.
unbanked and uninternet people of the world.
Wow.
SUI is now the SMS blockchain of choice.
Wait,
I wonder
that's
if this
actually
means
sick.
good
I
things for
didn't
the
know that.
Jumbo phone. What's that?
Maybe. I said this is actually sick. I didn't know that. Yeah, no, this is pretty cool. I know. I think
Amazing,
the
right?
Java phone was what, Aptos, so same language. That
Yeah,
would be,
movement.
yeah, that would be interesting. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, he basically just rediscovered Zelle, but for crypto.
Pretty much. Pretty much. It's interesting about there was a project at ETH Denver 2023. It was a group made up mainly of developers from Africa who had created an SMS based way just to send um, a validated transaction over ETH mainnet. So the fact that they can do this over SUI is great. Again, things that you do when you're stuck on a boat. I don't really know really how to describe this, but that's really cool. And this actually is very bullish, specifically for normies, right? Because you can do this, of course, if you have Coinbase Wallet, just sending messages back and forth between people. You can just send crypto to anybody. But the fact that you can do it through SMS over a very performant blockchain with regards to SUI, this is bullish. I'm curious to see where it goes from here, right? Uh,
So
yeah.
if I haven't heard about this, but if I get this straight, this phone is kind of a blockchain enabled phone. I'm hearing.
No, I think you just sent it from a regular cell phone. I think you just created an
Oh,
app. Maybe it's an Android
interesting.
app or something, and then it
Okay.
just used SMS to send it.
Because
Hard
the
to say.
SMS route, yeah, that in itself is very interesting. Being able to send it through SMS. So I haven't heard about this, and as a dev, I kind of want to dig into this because I know the SMS protocol in itself won't allow. Maybe I'm thinking MMS, but you can't.
Or
There's not a
RCS.
lot. Yeah. There's not a lot you can send with those. So how he did this will be very. There's not a lot of data you can
Yeah.
send within that. Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm curious if it's just like an automated workflow type thing where the SMS is just triggering an event. It's not actually doing anything. It's not actually
Right.
sending data. It's yeah, similar to Zelle where it's just like it receives the message, it does something, and then sends like a confirmation.
Yeah, you're essentially relaying information to a ledger, right? It's
Yeah.
saying credit here and debit there. Either way, kind of crazy that someone hasn't done this already, I guess is the best way to describe it
Yeah.
for me. I'm like, wait, someone hasn't done this yet? This is really cool. So uh the future is now. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with this. But I'm actually really bullish on seeing, how this is going to work. Um I somehow have lost quite a few windows here, so give me a quick second while I do that. While I do that, I just wanted to know, uh, did anyone here go to Catstanbul?
I
No,
haven't. No.
did not go
No.
to that one.
No. I haven't. I know, Istanbul is the lands of cats, so that's I've been
Yeah.
wanting to go to Istanbul, but I did not even know that this was happening.
Yeah, it was
Excellent.
a big
Well,
big Jupiter event.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. It was the big Jupiter event, their first ever annual event. Uh, from what I hear, next year's event is actually possibly going to be in Amsterdam, and I would love to go to Amsterdam. So,
Mhm.
Catsterdam, if that's the thing, I will be there next year. Let me just talk about the important highlights from here for anybody who's watching, and any of our audio listeners. By the way, we're actually putting out this show as a podcast moving forward as well. I'm sorry, yeah, on podcasts you can listen to. For audio listeners, I have a picture up of just what happened over the last week in Istanbul. Essentially, the biggest things that they have on here. I'm just gonna. It's not going to be from this tweet, but this is Ordy's tweet. But essentially, 50% of platform fees are now going back to the platform as a jupe buyback. They literally burned $3 billion.
Wow.
3 billion jupe, not $3 billion. They burned 3 billion jupe at the event in conjunction with lighting this metal cat on fire.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah, that video was funny. Did you see the video?
I did see the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's our Jupe buyback. Not only did they acquire Sonar, which is our recommended platform on Solana for portfolio management, they acquired a majority stake in Moonshot. And Moonshot rose to fame because they were one of the big apps that onboarded during the Trump meme coin launch. They brought in more than 370 million wallets,
Wow.
or rather, 270,000 wallets.
Mm.
Something. It was a large number. In
Yeah.
any case, Jupiter now has they have portfolio management. They now have onboarding locked down. They bought CoinHall last year, which is a DEX on like Injective and in the Cosmos IBC. So there's that for moving into having that interoperability. And then they also bought SolScan, a blockchain explorer, on Solana. So they definitely have made a ton of money off the fees off of all the Trump meme coin stuff, along with Meteora. And the other thing they mentioned, it's not here in this tweet, they now have a lending facility for JLP, which is their perps token. You can now take JLP and borrow USDC against that. That's coming soon. And then the big launch, which I don't know how you feel about this, Keiko, obviously, where where you work, but JupeNet. It's an omni-chain network. It's coming in the next couple of months through their Dove system, which, is I'm not going to go through the politics of where the oracles lie on that, but it's going to be an all-encompassing omni-chain ledger, which I think is a very interesting idea here. Now that they have all of this stuff together, they have built quite the moat, quite the ecosystem, and quite the walled garden at this point. Keiko, I wanted to get your thoughts first on this, based on because I'm bullish Jupe, bullish Solana. Seeing this is just bullish for their community because they do have a very large group of Chad cats that are working towards a greater good here. Actually, Keiko is muted, so
My bad.
all good.
There's a lot of acquisitions, a lot of money being tossed around, and a lot of like cool ideas and promises, and like creating a single ecosystem for that basically represents like the entirety of crypto. Anybody can build anything, and then they are automatically integrated into JupeNet. Like they aren't the first people to try to do
No,
something like
they're
this,
not.
and it will not be the last. There's plenty of wallets out there. There's plenty of chains. Like there's a lot of interop, a lot of abstraction protocols. I mean, even probably like 6 months ago, abstraction was like a huge thing.
Yep.
I know Abstract just launched. The launch was a little bit rough, but they have their I forget the name of it, but it's basically their like new wallet type that doesn't require like connecting a wallet or anything like that. It's just you can interact right on every website.
Yeah, and
It's pretty cool.
they've abstracted the gas fees away as well.
Yeah. No gas. So there's a lot of people working towards this. This is definitely like a 5-year vision, I would say, even maybe even 10-year vision. Like it's not going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
Like burning 3 billion Jupe tokens, like I mean, it's cool. It's bullish for Jupiter token. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm definitely not getting my hopes up. If they can pull it off, like all power to them. Like that would be freaking awesome. Ultimately, we need stuff like this in order to onboard users and make things more simple to use. Like nobody should care whether they're interacting on Solana or Base, or even really be able to tell the difference. In my opinion, like that's just a friction that most people don't need. Like even people that use Solana and have been in crypto for 3 to 5 years don't even know like what approving a transaction does or what it's for. And you shouldn't, honestly. Like if we want crypto to become a big thing, you shouldn't even need to know what approving means. And then to speak about the Oracle side of things, we're definitely paying close attention. We've been talking to the Jupiter team, and oracles aren't going anywhere. That's for sure.
No, they definitely are not.
There will be some close integrations.
So Ken, you being in development, seeing the interoperability here play on a massive scale. So hats off to Jupiter for trying to solve this problem, because it's a tough problem to solve if A, you don't have resources, or B, the infrastructure.
It's interesting. I mean, and as Keiko was saying, you really don't want. There's so much things that are being built now, and a lot of these people don't have the the UI UX experience on top of that, and it's a lot more work to add that layer on top. So you just kind of build these protocols, but we need something like Jupyter to help with that so we can onboard. My mother-in-law posted in the chat, we want her to be able to use these protocols without even knowing and have the best experience. So paying the least amount of gas, and there will always be that side where we can, as developers, go in and play with these Legos. But the masses, hopefully, we can get them to use crypto without even knowing it. So, and a lot of that's already happening now. So hats off to what they're trying to do. It's huge, but something that's needed. I mean, there's so many chains as well popping up. I mean, I can make one tonight and launch it. It's going to be terrible, but so yeah, I think it's a good thing. It's awesome. It's good to hear. We'll see what comes out of it. I'm excited, and hats off to them.
Yeah, and I appreciate that segue from you because, I will talk about our free group here. In the event that you are new to decentralized finance, new to on-chain investing, you're trying to figure out your way, how to get a good education. I will tell you from experience, and I saw it this morning thanks to a new launch that we found yesterday, that there are a lot of people who are not educated and they don't know what to do other than buy low, sell high. There's more you can do with your crypto than you ever realized. And that's why we have people like Keiko, we have people like Ken here to introduce themselves to our community, give their analysis, and use this show to educate you as an investor. How can I take the news of the week and actually make it work with my allocation? How can I learn more? And that's what our free group here is for at Total Value Locked from Beacon DeFi. Feel free to check out our Start Here post that has all of the information to get you on your way with regards to just getting started. We have free content for you there to learn how to become an investor on. We cover all the blockchains. It's not just Solana. It's not just Ethereum based stuff or Base, Optimism, Arbitrum, like it's on my hat. We cover it all. And our goal is to make sure that you can be onboarded safely and securely. And we're aiming towards people who know very little about crypto. That's been our goal since 2021. We've helped tens of thousands of people get there. So if you are curious, if you know anybody else who's curious, if they bought some Trump meme coin, now they want to know what they can do with it, send them our way. We'll be happy to educate them up and get them to be better investors moving forward, because this is a journey about self-custody, and you do deserve to be your own bank with your own keys and your own crypto. Again, school.com/beacon, absolutely free to join. Learn from the best in the business. All right, now that I'm done with my plug, let's talk about the AI space race. It's interesting because last week, OpenAI introduced Operator. It was like on Friday or something like that, right? We had the announcement for Project Stargate, which was an initiative, $500 billion over 4 years, with OpenAI, with Microsoft, with Oracle, with SoftBank. Going to be huge, because the AI agent Meta in DeFi right now for DeFi is like about 14 billion in market cap. So we're going to see a lot more innovation coming from this. And Operator decided to launch and give just basic AI agents the ability to use the web to create, to execute on very basic tasks. Very bullish idea, because that was probably the one thing that was missing from this piece so far. And it's basically just an agent that can do web-based tasks for you. So you can have multiple agents talking to each other. You can put together trips. Somebody was doing it with putting together a cookbook of recipes based off of some idea they're looking for dinner tonight. Basic things, right? But ultimately, that got overshadowed. And I actually don't see it here, so I'll just pull up Sam Altman's tweet. Because of a Chinese company who came out named DeepSeek. This came out open sourced, able to do much of what ChatGPT can do from OpenAI, but with less compute cost, like orders of magnitude cheaper. And you can run it locally without less intensive hardware, which overall, huge blow to NVIDIA, to some of these other tech stocks. We saw the market just crumple off of that. I think NVIDIA took like a nasty loss off the back of that, causing everything on the market to go red, creating what we're seeing now as a bit of an AI space race between US and China, right? What's interesting is that, and this happened over, I think the other day. Oh, today. DeepSeek R1, which is their model, actually found some speed optimizations that it wrote itself. So, Ken, I know you're a dev guy. The fact that they can business analyze themselves in their own code, and use the process to find speed optimizations. This is C++, by the way, so of course it's a very fast um, execution environment. Man,
Yeah. This
man, oh
just
man.
compounds the learning that these things can do. It just compounds it, makes it that much quicker. I mean, it's learning itself. And I believe the reason why DeepSeek itself is quicker than OpenAI or 4.0 or something like that is because it's in a sense teaching itself how to learn. And I think it's kind of like offloading some of the compute. Or I was looking at it, Keiko, you might know this as well. I was looking at a video on this a couple days ago, just really just trying to understand how R1 is as good as or better than 4.0 with less compute. And I think it's kind of offloading some of the learning process.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so there's something that actually came out today from the Anthropic CEO. I put a link in the chat here, but
Thank you, sir.
essentially, so yeah, R1 is like the revelation. V3 is not really a breakthrough apparently. And he shed some light on like the compute power and like the cost of everything. Essentially, they're running on more chips than any of the United States-based AI. So they're running on, it says 50K Hopper chips, which costs around $1 billion. So if you compare that to the US ones, it's actually roughly the same cost. It's just
Oh,
cheaper. It's just cheaper for the end user, essentially.
yes.
Yeah. So that's the main difference. But yeah, the thinking is definitely, it's not necessarily thinking. It's like it has the ability to logically problem solve and look back at its process and like how it got to a solution, essentially. Which is, I mean, that's how engineers work. Like that's what you're taught as
Yeah.
an engineer. You're taught how to problem solve in complex ways, and then obviously checks and balances, see how you got to the solution, see where you went wrong, and it's actually like very good at that. I think that's the main like the main value prop for DeepSeek. I don't know too much about architecture, like how these things are built or machine learning or anything like that. So by all means, not an expert here. I think ChatGPT is just different in that sense. Like
Yeah.
the core functionality is different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
core of it
reasoning
all.
model is different as well. Go ahead, Ken. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
cut you off.
Yeah. No, no, no. Yeah, the core of it all, just like what Keiko was saying. Yeah, I believe that even DeepSeek was using ChatGPT and asking and learning it, which a lot of these models probably do. I mean, they're doing something similar within BitTensor for some of their LLM subnets just to fine tune their own models when you have a model like 4.0 that's already pretty performant. So, I mean, it's interesting. We have this race going on, which similar to the moon race, which really propelled space engineering back in the day. What is this going to do to AI nowadays? These upcoming years, the U.S. Oh, we're the best at everything. We're the best at everything. I could foresee them pouring tons of money into this just to prove that we
Just
are
to
the
stick it to
best.
them, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know
Oh,
how
for
we
sure,
are
especially with it
supposedly.
being China too.
Yeah,
Like having Trump
100%.
as the president and then China as the secondary power here. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of here for it. Like,
Me too.
it's super entertaining and it's like beneficial for everybody because it's technology. So it's yeah, it's definitely cool to see. And going back to like Project Stargate,
Yeah.
um, the like $500 billion fund to like send money to AI and like influence like advancements. Uh, I'm really curious to see how this plays out because like SoftBank, like they don't have that much money. Like they do not have $500 billion liquid to invest into AI. Like not many companies just have that sitting around. So I'm curious to see like how much money they actually put in, or like if it's through assets or however this plays out. I don't know. I know that Elon Musk talked about this quite a bit, and
He did some
yeah,
world level trolling on this.
yeah. He's like, I
He's
have it
like, they
on
don't
good
have the money.
authority. They have like only $10 billion or something like that. So yeah,
Well,
we'll see.
I will credit Satya Nadella, the head of Microsoft, because he tweeted back and he said, we're good for our 80 billion. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. You
Yeah.
stick it to them. Oracle's got a ton of money. Microsoft has a ton of money.
Mhm.
OpenAI has a ton of money. This is a 4-year deal. They're going to make a lot of that back pretty quickly, to be quite honest. And it's over 4 years. So, I don't see any real issue with
Mhm.
them trying to find ways to bring 125 billion into the fold between the four of those major
Yeah.
entities, every year. So, yeah, really great read here. I'll make sure I'll put this in the show notes. I did want to highlight from this gentleman Dion Hinchcliffe. Great thread on this specifically. I love this infographic mainly because
Oh
uh,
wow.
it's not wrong, right? So the idea is that, and I was talking to Pete from Beefy about this. We were talking about it over the weekend because he was able to get DeepSeek running locally very easily with like an older, like I think it was like a Ryzen 5 and an RTX 3060 Ti, which I have here next to me in one of in my most recent Windows box I need to rebuild. So from that perspective, I think it's a very cost-effective way. If you want to be a data scientist and you really want to get into this, uh, it doesn't take much. In fact, if you just buy a Mac Mini for $599, that's an unbelievable entry into something like this, right? That's an unbelievable entry to start doing stuff like
Man.
this. So, and most
It,
people who want to get into it probably just write us off as a business expense anyway. So, I need to do that. Let me make a note for that.
Yeah.
and it's so fascinating. I mean, like, we just saw the SMS, transaction through a phone. Now we're looking at, deep seek and someone running. I saw it too, someone running something on a phone as well. I mean, the pairing of crypto and AI kind of go hand in hand. And we're just seeing, I mean, a year from now, 2 years from now, if someone's running DeepSeek on their phone, what's going to be coming out? We have these Mac Minis, like you're saying, that are very performant. So, I mean, this space is just flying right now. Similar to crypto 2 years ago, 4 years ago. AI right now is all the rage. So I'm all here for it until they take over everything, and we're just going to be blob sitting in a chair as our AI overlords look for help
Our
us do stuff.
agents,
But
our
our
agents
agents,
go
yeah.
off and do whatever.
No, seriously, the agents are real. Like this weekend, I like dipped my toes into AI for the first time probably about like a week and a half or so ago, like properly giving it a look and playing with some tools. And yeah, this past weekend I probably spent like 30 hours on making an agent and playing with like Lindy. And yeah, I just like didn't sleep because
How's
I
I
just
how's I brother? There's only 48 hours in a
yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, hey, that's 18 for sleeping. That's good.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
But like I just felt so far behind because as
Yeah.
soon as you dig into the agents, you realize like, wow, it's really just up to your creativity. The agents are here, the tools are here, you have everything at your disposal that you need in order to build something. The only thing holding you back from building something is you at this point. So as soon
Exactly.
as I realized that, I was like, wow, I need to like get myself into gear
Yeah.
and like make some agents. And even for like my job, I was able to automate some DeFi research, automate database management through like a
Mm.
Telegram chat. I have a new bot where I could essentially ask it for a status on a lead and it shoots out all the information
Mm.
for me. I can say, hey, research this product and update its Twitter URL, its website URL, its docs, and it searches the protocol, goes into Notion and updates all of the information for me. I
Wow.
don't have to do anything. And that
Wow.
was zero coding at all. No code.
I
That's
need to
wild.
I need to
Insane.
find 38
You need to hop
hours.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I, I would be curious, and I don't want to keep us kicker. What framework you tried for these agents? I myself have an agent running right now.
Yeah.
We all have these agents going
Yeah, I have
Yeah,
one
it's
in
like
the
through a lot through Eliza.
it's like less of an agent and more of like a workflow. So it's
Okay.
using Lindy.ai, which is essentially a like AI Zapier. You can link flows together, and you could add agents in between each block. You can give
Wow.
context, train it on certain things. You
Wow.
can also select which framework you want to use. So you can use all of ChatGPT's frameworks. You can use Claude frameworks, Llama, whatever.
Wow. Yeah.
But
The
yeah,
one I'm
it's
using is I'm using Eliza's, and that's plugged in. You
Mhm.
can use different models with that as well. I mean,
Yep.
that's everyone's been using. Yeah. So
Yeah,
Plus,
I
it's
opted for this
TypeScript, so
because
it's a
it's
lot
no
easier to work with. Yeah, the fact that it's no code is sick. I mean, we're just
Yeah.
in that age now where, ultimately it's going to be easier and easier for people to find work, and it's really more a
Yeah.
matter of, for example, we'll talk about this in the next segment. I see people who are hiring for reply guys
And
on
you
Twitter,
can automate
on
that in like
social
15
media.
minutes. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And that if I was that person, I would do that immediately.
Yep.
Using an AI agent to do that, because how else are you going to do that? I mean, it's so much time. We only have so much time in the day. We only have so much time with our families and things that we want to get done. That's why
Yeah.
these agents exist. And we talked about this last time, Ken, where we start off at stage 1 and stage 2 of just discovery. Now stage 3 with memories, with persistence, and now we have full standards in stage 4. With Eliza OS now, which is what used to be AI 16Z. Virtual is expanding to Solana. That was the other big news that came out of Cat Stemble. Uh, we're going to see interoperability, with Daniel Sestigali's hand on. Uh, I don't know if you saw this, Keiko. I just saw this literally like 10 minutes before we got on. He was in Antarctica and he got everybody at the research station onboarded onto base. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, what a Chad. What a Chad.
Gosh, I didn't see that though. I did see that he was down there, but I didn't see that he was onboarding people. That's ridiculous. Coinbase in
That's a flex.
Antarctica.
That's a flex, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's
And we
super
could
cool.
go on for this for hours, to be quite honest. But if you guys are interested in trying out DeepSeek, you can of course do that. I think it's deepseek.com. Or if you want to try it through another method, Venice is available. Venice.ai from Eric Voorhees and his group. This is built on base on top of the Morpheus framework. I've been a user of Venice for quite some time. They do this airdrop kind of went crazy. The VVV airdrop they stealth launched this 2 days ago. Was it 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days
Yep.
ago. And I know if you paid for an $8 a month Venice Pro subscription, you got thousands of dollars in airdrop. And I was just like, man.
Yeah.
And because I use the free version all the time. Why? Because it doesn't censor its results. That's the one thing between that and Claude and ChatGPT, is that they have to have a level of censorship because of the liability, I guess, that they have. Whereas everything here in Venice is decentralized. They do tout their privacy, although you'll get some people who will fudge you up and down the street about it. They don't they don't really track anything if you use a VPN. So one thing to consider if you're looking for just asking anything is using Venice, and you can ask for it to use DeepSeek, or it uses an older version of ChatGPT. There's 3 or 4 models you can use, but Venice.ai is a site you can use if you want to try out DeepSeek yourself. Otherwise, it's open source. You're more than welcome to try it out on your local machine, and it's going to get better, which is the sickest part of it all, is that competition is really what's going to push all this forward. I know you mentioned that, Ken. So I'm excited to see where we go from here, because it's only nothing but up. And with regards to AI agents and having all of that stuff doing crypto and on-chain related tasks for you, I mean, this just opened the door wide open, because now anybody can go in. Because as much as teams like to build things, they like to build things for free, right? Let's be honest. They're not going to go out there and shell out all this money, because they got to shell out all that money for everything else, listings and audits and all that type of stuff. So if they can save money by using this type of stuff, they're going to do it. So I know I mentioned Venice because there are a lot of people who are very, very concerned about the idea of using the website and the Chinese Communist Party taking that information that you ask it and using it against you. So if you don't want to do something like that, you can certainly use Venice. They use their own locally running version of DeepSeek locally on their servers. So some another option there for you. I did want to ask you, Ken, before we move on, has there been any chats in the BitTensor subnets about this move?
About Venice you're seeing here, or
No,
DeepSeek?
DeepSeek.
I haven't seen too much chatter. A lot of people are trying it and playing around with it. I mean, it's recent too, so I haven't seen too much. But I believe some of the subnets are using DeepSeek to train some of their models off of as well. To ask it
Really?
different things. So yeah, I mean, a lot of these LLMs, you can train your own models, and that's what BitTensor is, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
just this platform of these collective of people gamifying different commodities and whatnot. And so some of these people, yeah, within different subnets are using ChatGPT, DeepSeek to train their own models to just perform better. So you can compare your models against these things and get better. So it's funny that you saw you have Venice up here. Yeah, just yesterday I was going through Eliza's code, and they have a Venice API connection too. So I mean, it's all just Legos at this point. Everything coming together just to create these entities. So, but yeah, in BitTensor, it's I haven't seen too much, but it's a known thing, and people are using DeepSeek, and it's interesting.
Yeah, curious to see. Obviously, with detail coming soon
Yeah,
and all of that, if this is an option, if this is a competitor, if this is just more plumbing that allows more options
it's
for
all,
people to get
yeah,
things done,
yeah.
that's a good thing.
Time will tell, but currently, I think it's a plugin right now for people to kind of use, and it's a helper tool right now, and
Hmm.
even the architecture people can gain from that and probably plug it into a BitTensor in some type of way if they already haven't, just to perform better within the subnet. So we'll
Excellent.
see.
Well, we'll go ahead and move on to the biggest chain launch from this past week, and that was Abstract from Igloo Inc., the parent company of the Pudgy Penguins NFT collection, the IP. You can find Pudgy Penguins at your local Walmart and Target. This is now a blockchain that they have to ultimately have the ultimate form of consumer crypto. Unfortunately, we were going to have Van Ho on the show because she is an actual contracted streamer for them. I was going to have her experience on working on the chain, but unfortunately, she's under the weather, so we'll get her back on a future show. But if you're curious about Abstract itself, it is a layer 2 in the EVM subsystem. So the gas token is ETH uh, for Abstract. It is built on top of the ZK Sync stack. So if you're going to be going there using a bridge, whether it be Jumper or Relay or their official bridge, just know that transactions are going to be a little, not necessarily slower, but they're going to be a little bit more expensive because with ZK or zero knowledge proof chains, they do have a different format of doing the validation and the finalization of that. So you will be paying more for that based off of that initially anyway. So keep that in mind. Uh, they definitely want to try and onboard the next billion into DeFi, thanks to all of these NFT collections that are rushing to launch, as well as with GameFi. I want to say pre-launch they had more than 17,000 people sign up to be a content creator. If you come over to their live stream sections, you're actually seeing people live stream from all around the world. So they're going to get a ton of eyes on the product, which is good for them. They do have multiple DeFi apps available. Most of them, are GameFi, they're NFTs, they're meme coins. But I do think we'll start to see some sort of maybe lending would be interesting. Obviously, with Blur and their lending service, we'll see more of that on this chain. I don't know if necessarily we'll see a ton of DeFi in terms of LPs with staking or liquidity provision, but that is something that is definitely on the table, specifically because they have, Zero Land and some of these others that are out there. So, thoughts, gentlemen, on I know that the launch was a little clunky, but we'll start with you, Keiko, and your thoughts on how Abstract's vision is working out so far.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think the launch was clunky, but it was also quiet. So
Yeah.
the main like Twitter account and even Luca didn't even say anything until I don't know, like hours after it was live. Like I knew it was live just because of CT and paying attention, but there was no real announcement until it had been live for hours. So I don't know what the deal is there. I don't know if maybe that's why I didn't really play with it until later. So I didn't really personally see too many hiccups. But really, I
Hmm.
only bridged and like bought a few coins and didn't really have any issues with that. Um, so I don't know if it's being like blown out of proportion. But from my personal experience, it really wasn't like too bad. Um, but as far as like apps go, yeah, this is definitely a consumer chain. It's all gaming, all NFTs, all community driven. Some few like on-chain heroes, for example, is kind of like a cookie clicker style game where you can level up
Right.
characters and earn points and that kind of stuff. So it's definitely more fun. As far as DeFi goes, yeah, there's Zero Land, I believe, Vertex,
Yeah,
And then
Vertex.
I think Orderly might be there as well. So some perp dexes, but yeah, won't really see too much DeFi here, I don't think. It'll be interesting to see what this turns into. It kind of reminds me of Ronin, like what Ronin should have been. I know there's still some good games on Ronin, but we'll see if people start building on Abstract instead. Ronin's builder community is quite small or even non-existent at this point, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Any thoughts for you, Ken, on Abstract? Are you going to be a user of the chain?
Probably not. I mean, maybe I'm not the target for this. We'll see. I'm always in the trenches somewhere. I end up somewhere. I never know where I'm going to end up. So for sure, yeah, it could be something here. Um, could I get like the high level pitch on the abstract? Maybe this could help the community as well because there's so many chains out there. I hear this is more of a consumer chain, but what's the high level pitch on abstract?
Yeah, it's basically a blockchain that's meant to highlight NFT and GameFi, right? Because the
Mm,
company that started it, they have Pudgy Penguins, they have multiple NFT collections. They
that's
want
right.
to make it easy for uh, they want to have multiple things other than just their collection. So that's really probably the main reason why they have the blockchain. Obviously, fees and earning their own money,
Yeah.
expanding their IP. They'll probably have, because I know that for penguins specifically, they have some unlockables that you have when you purchase a toy, at a brick and mortar store or for however you get it. Uh, this could open up new. I think this is more of a proving ground, to be quite honest with you, Ken. I think we're going to see multiple brands find their way to Abstract because they have really good BD from what I hear. And they're going to try and find brands to come on, have an NFT loyalty type experience, and then kind of move on from there. Stuff that I think Polygon kind of fumbled, to be honest. I think we'll see some good stuff on Abstract because their goal is to be consumer
Yeah.
facing,
Yeah.
you know?
And certainly when the NFT, because I believe it's coming, when the NFT craze comes and happens, that clogged up, I think last cycle that clogged up ETH quite a bit. So just to have something like this, well, it is going to eventually go back to the ETH chain, but maybe facilitating some of the transactions could be beneficial in the future. So it'll be interesting to see. NFTs, I think they'll have their time this year. When it'll happen, who knows? But so I get it from that aspect. So maybe, and I was kind of deep in the NFT world back in the day, so maybe I'll be using abstract in the future. We'll see.
Got 2 days left, Keiko, for Bearchain to make its debut.
No comment. No, that's more of a no comment as like I don't know the date or what's going on. Not
No, I
not that I'm
know.
bearish or anything like that.
Q
Um,
Q5 launch, right? Q5
yeah,
launch
exactly,
2024.
exactly. I am allocated. That's all I have to say.
I think most of us are, sir. So,
Yeah,
we're
we'll
we're
see.
waiting to see where, so and hello to Declan Fox, friend of the show at Linea. They put out their roadmap today. So they're about to get strapped up. A Monad is about to get strapped up. We're going to see some interesting launches here
Oh
over
yeah.
the next couple of months.
Yeah, we
Uh,
got we got a bunch. Yeah, there's Monad, Monad, Barachain, Mega ETH,
yep.
Hyper EVM. What else? Yeah, Linea. Man, there's a bunch, and it's all
Hmm.
happening roughly Q1. Monad is only testnet though. It is
Yes.
not. It is not mainnet, so we just get to play around with some DApps, and yeah, we'll see what the TPS is.
So until then, Say is going to keep eating people's lunch. So
Yep.
shout out to the Say team for having great TPS for high throughput stuff. I also wanted to say hello to our friend Max at Variational, friend of the show. They are launching today their mainnet for Omni. This is their perps platform. It's on Arbitrum. We have had him on multiple times here on the show to talk about this, and the difference is, much like Hyperliquid, they're actually going to have hundreds of perps at launch. So a lot of things to look forward to there, and I do hope they have a good launch. So good luck to everyone there. Variational. Everybody who's been following along, you will have an early onboarding guide that was given that was told to me by Max himself. So good luck to them. Looking to see where they go from here. Bringing some shine back to the big old A, right here on my head. So with that said,
It's
let me take a quick second to go to our what we've learned section. And I apologize, guys. I thought we just talked about AI for quite some time,
Yeah.
but what we wanted to also talk about is this is something we talked about last year, right? So the and Keiko, you and I have talked about this extensively. Is about you're in this space, you're in the trenches, you're doing great. Uh, you want to be in this full time, you get the bug. People get obsessed with being on chain, right? You find something cool. I mean, you're like, wow, this is digital money. This is the future. How do I work in here full time? Because I've seen multiple people leave their jobs to try and find a career here. And the three of us obviously very blessed to have the opportunity to be here in this space as our careers. Um, Let me just tell you guys off the top, if this is something you want to do, unless you find a company that is very well funded, and I mean VC funded, uh, it's going to be a supreme grind to try and get in on the ground floor and work your way up. But it's very much possible. Just looking at at what we have here between the three of us in terms of what you can create and get into here working for a Web3 based company. You are going to need some experience, obviously, to get started, but there are multiple companies hiring for multiple things, whether that be on the social comms side, whether you're a programmer, a project manager, or you're in business development, you're good at sales and marketing. These are all things that people are looking for. You will need a little bit of experience, though. But depending on the team, they may not care, honestly, because they want people who are a good fit for their culture. And multiple teams are very different in terms of their work culture. So kind of keep that in mind. So I want to start with you, Ken, about for those people who are looking to find a job here in Web3. In your opinion, what are some of the skills based on experience from other teams that you interact with, projects you've been involved with? What are some things that people should be doing to make themselves uh, hireable, I guess is the word I would use.
good question. Yeah, I've worked at a number of Web3 companies, even my own back in the day, and a lot of it was just people who were passionate, the go-getters. So even if people didn't have the necessary skills, it was still nice seeing them talking to different people, putting the word out, tweeting, creating graphics, whatever skills they had, contributing to the project, being in the ecosystem, being in the community as an admin, helping out. So, as you were alluding to, there's a lot of different ways people can get involved. And unfortunately, a lot of it is technical. But even then, I don't have a college degree myself. I just got like a four dummies book, which might be over there, and taught myself. This was a while ago, so
You're living the dream, brother.
it's crazy. It's what timeline are we on? But you picked up a four dummies book and for web development, and that has transitioned into Web3. But a lot of it is just really being in the community, and helping out, and people will see that. People will see that. So it's tough, yeah, but there's opportunities there for sure.
Yeah, and Keiko, I know we've talked about this a lot. I think that, Ken mentioned go-getters. I think critical thinking is a huge
Mhm.
skill that a lot of people that make it in the space need to have. You have to be a bit passionate, a bit quirky, but you got to have critical thinking to be able to find ways to uh, find solutions to problems that you A, didn't realize existed, or B, are out of the box to help bring eyes to what a good solution would be.
Yep, no, exactly. Those are honestly the main qualities. Like you just need to be able to problem solve, be resourceful, and be willing to put in the time. Like this, I mean, this goes for crypto, but all industries that are remote forward type industries where you don't really have a boss, you don't really clock in. Like it is almost entrepreneurship in a way, where you need to hold yourself accountable. You need to find the problems. You need to have the business owner's mentality and be able to come up with solutions, or at least talk about solutions with somebody else that may know how to solve it more than you. So really the only way to like get into crypto, I think nowadays, especially because of regulation coming and more eyes on crypto and bull market, it's very, very competitive now. You have Goldman Sachs and like big finance Wall Street people coming in on the business side, and then you have big tech company software engineers coming in from California on the engineering side. So super high competition now, super high ceiling, but there's also still room for opportunity. Like Ken said, you don't need a college degree to do any of this. You just need the mentality to log in, learn, stay curious, and find solutions to problems that teams don't even know exist. And that, like, I think we are all examples of that. I mean, me most recently, I think 4 months ago, I came up with a solution to a problem that Pith didn't even know existed, and here I am working at Pith. That's really the only thing that you need to do, and it sucks because most people are trying to make the transition from like full-time jobs that they already have, not in crypto. So it is very difficult to basically work another full-time job without getting paid to make that transition. But everybody has to, pay their tuition with time in this industry. I did it for like 2-3 years as a software engineer, and yeah, it takes time, and you stay up till 3-4 in the morning a lot of times in order to do it. But yeah, you'll be happy you did it once you land that first position.
Yeah.
I was up till 3
Actually,
last night personally.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say, ask me what time I went to bed last night. And I do have the foot in the door now, but a lot of times, opportunities that have popped up have just because I've popped in, I've added a commit to a project, I've, shined some light in a community somewhere. So, and this is without people knowing my credentials. So, people ask, "Hey, what have you been doing?" And then I show them my credentials, and they're more likely to add me on. But a lot of that communication has started by just doing something,
Yep.
and yeah, it's a full time job outside of my full time job, but it's very rewarding, I would say.
Yeah. Just contribute, bring value and show value, and it'll make it a no-brainer to hire you. If you have to apply to the job and go through the normal channels and get an interview, you're just blending in with everybody else. It's very difficult to stand out on a resume, especially in an industry that could give two craps about your resume. Essentially, most people in crypto have terrible resumes, to be totally honest. Like they only went to high school. Some people didn't even graduate college. Some people aren't even trained in the job that they have. Like I was an engineer, and I'm doing BD and sales, and like had a marketing agency on the side. Like those are three totally different fields. um, but like it all works, and it all leads to crypto. And you just need to be able to stay curious and put the work in without much reward.
Yeah, like Ken, I am a self-taught developer. I self-taught myself VB way back in the day, and that's kind of what started VB and Pascal and ASP, and that's kind of what kind of started the fire. I know that makes me super old, but essentially, you gotta have the hunger, right? You have to be able to look past the what am I doing this for? You're doing it for you overall. I would say definitely if you find something you like, and if you're a programmer, it's really not hard to learn. There's also tons of ways to just learn the logic, because that's the key. If you understand the logic of how something works, the syntax or the programming language comes easy, because you are just expressing logic in various platforms. And you can do them no code now, right? So for a lot of people, they don't really need to know the code. They just need to know how it worked and fundamentally what does it all mean. I for people that don't know, I do have an MBA. I don't use it. I mean, I do. I'm not gonna say I don't, because obviously I run Beacon. But at the same time, what we're looking for when we're looking for people are people who are just hungry to make a change. We don't want selfish people. We work towards outcomes, not schedules. And that, I know that's tough for a lot of people to really like look at, because if they're looking to leave a 9 to 5, now they're looking at like not a 9 to 5, but it could be like clusters of 4 hour blocks any day of the week, right? And that's kind of the story at a lot of different companies. But I will say, one thing we want to do at Total Value Locked at our free group is to have people talking. We want people to help each other, because honestly, the age old thing, it's not about what you know, it's who you know, right? That still applies regardless of, how you feel, because you may not have the best resume, but this guy can vouch for you. Like, I got this job because of my friend so and so. That still applies here. Fundamentally, it's always going to be that way, to be quite honest. So, uh, you know, get ingrained, get involved, get engaged, and then we reward people who engage. It's as simple as that. If you see a project you like, get involved with them. you'll be surprised where you go from there if you show engagement and promise. Because honestly, most people who are in projects, they want people to give a shit about what their project's about. They're not there just to make money and dump and run, right? So that's the key, is to build, to be in a community where they're building things, where they're all working together towards greater goals. Obviously, we all want to make money, and I get it. If you got to do whatever you got to do to pay the bills, do that. But at the same time, we're here because we believe in the future of finance. We're here because we believe in the future of blockchain as a way to do business. And this is the way we'll be doing business in 5 to 10 years, guaranteed. Uh, Twitter just aligned with Visa for on chain payments. We're going to see more of this moving forward uh, as it continues, because the infrastructure is already there. It's just about making the decisions and working out all the bureaucracy to start using it. And once that starts to happen, it's going to snowball quickly. Um, one article I didn't put in the agenda today is something we talk about a lot, which is stablecoins are the killer app of crypto. There's going to be more and more stablecoins coming. You got to understand these things and just learn. So I will again do a quick plug if you want to learn, because that's honestly, for me, it's like I like people who are educated in the subject that you want to get in for. Uh, the more information that you know, the better off you're going to be in this space, especially if you want to go into a team. You're like, oh, cool. Well, I know how lending AMMs work because of this. Let us be that reason why you know that. So again, totally free to join school.com/beacon. And yeah, let's start the conversation. If you're looking for a job, you want to have this as a career, say something here in Total Value Locked. We're going to set up some stuff, some infrastructure to hopefully be able to connect you with the right people. But we got to get this community together, working together, rowing in the right direction, in the same direction, which is forward. So, gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time here today. Keiko, what would you like to plug, sir?
As always, my Twitter, 0xkaco. That's pretty much the only place that I live other than Telegram, but sorry, you won't get my Telegram. Yeah, thanks again for having me on. It's always great to come on and talk crypto, DeFi, and now I guess AI.
Yeah,
I mean, talked about AI for a while, but
you might
it's
be
not
the new
going away.
expert on automations.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I'm probably going to log off and play with that again for another 10 hours today. But yeah, thanks for having me on. Look forward to doing it again soon.
Ken, Devrel at Taushi, thanks again for joining us today. What would you like to plug, sir? How are we doing on Glitch?
Yeah, no, Glitch is coming along nicely. Just looked at some screens earlier, so I'm excited for that. We're also launching Horizon, which is going to be a no-code way for people to send their trades and start a miner with PTN with Taushi. PTN is a
Ooh,
product by Taushi, so that's coming. Look for that. Via the Taushi Twitter, the Glitch Twitter, even my Twitter, Raleigh_CA at Twitter. And yeah, as Chris was saying, like right now the talk has been AI. So there's probably something there that a lot of people can learn, that we can use in the future. AI, I don't think it's going away. So there's a lot we can learn there. And I myself am in the learning phase. So if there's anything we can do to learn together, that would be awesome. So Taushi.io, glitch.financial on Twitter, Raleigh_CA on Twitter. And thanks for having me on. I always enjoy chatting.
yes, sir. We'll have you back on, of course, as well as Keiko, because we love having you guys on. Some of the brightest minds in our entire space are always on this show every week. We do it every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, here on both our Twitter as well as our YouTube channel. Feel free to join us, join in, and learn more about what we do. And of course, thanks to our Beacon founding members, our Beacon Mastermind members, and our Beacon Accelerator members for helping make all of this possible. All of our community members in Total Value Locked, hello, and I hope to see you on Friday for our weekly free training, Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern. It's actually on Twitter. I live streamed on Twitter last week. So if you want to check out what our calls normally look like, go to our Twitter, Beacon DeFi, and check out that free training where I talk about what we look for in farms, tokenomics, and all that great stuff. Was a fun hour to go into it. So if you're looking to get into the basics, check it out and just give me some feedback. Let me know what you want to learn. What makes your investor heart tick? I would love to know. With that said, guys, thanks for joining us. We will see you again next. Wrong one. We'll see you next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Take care. Beacons up, banks down. Oh 07. See you later, guys.